Just waiting to go live on YouTube also. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. And today I wanted to speak to you about a little bit heavier topic. I know it's not one that it's about plants and getting healthy, but I think it's a really important exercise to think about. And I want to give you 10 reasons about how thinking about your own death can actually give you a more meaningful life. And like I had mentioned previously, I've been listening to a book called The Comfort Crisis. And a portion of it is looking at why the people of Bhutan are happier. And part of their culture is actually thinking about their own death or demise 3 times a day. And it really got me thinking about my own struggle or adjustment or understanding and acceptance of my own death. And I think, it's one certainty, the joke, there's two certain things in life, taxes and death. But I really want to get to how thinking about your own end can actually make you more present. And I'll share a story. I remember when I was probably, I don't know, 7 or 8, when I understood the finality of death, when I had a family member pass and asking, those existential questions of what happens after we die? Does it hurt? What does that mean? And just having a really sense of fear and dread and anxiety set in my chest. I remember the physical feeling. And, in American society, we think that some new pill, new superfood or something is going to reverse the clock. And it might in some component or make us healthier, but, somehow evade the inevitable um, death. And I think for me, and maybe you as well, when after you lose someone that was close to you, and for me, what really hit home is how quickly death can arrive at anyone's doorstep. It doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter your status or who you are. Was when my brother Clay died at age 22, and this was many years ago, and he had come to visit us. We lived in Lubbock, Texas, and he was a senior in college. And he had driven to see us and some other family members in the area and was driving back to school. And Abilene had a flat tire and was changing it and was hit by a car passing by someone who had fallen asleep at the wheel. So, rule number one, pull over and rest if you're tired. But I'll never forget that moment, when I got the phone call that Clay had died. And he literally was there that day, and he was 22. Um, and just the struggle of understanding the finality and the purpose of our life and while we're here. And I think the purpose piece of it was really phenomenal to me when we went to his funeral and over 500 people showed up, because even for such a young person, he had dramatic impact on people. And that really hit home for me is like, am I having an effect on people? And for me, that is such a wonderful purpose to be here and present, and to think how infinitely small the chance of us even being born and living, especially in this time, is so astronomically small. It's actually incalculable. And I was trying to find the odds of, a human being born, and there's some like 1 to the 10 over 2 million something, raised to the 2 millionth power or something. It's a number I can't even pronounce, but it does speak to, one, we should be grateful just for even existing. And two, we live in a place, you live in the United States, where we have opportunities like at no other time in the world. And there's that piece to be grateful for. But what does this have to do with embracing death? Because I think if we understand that death could arrive today, death could arrive tomorrow, it could be 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, right? And if you're blessed with a long and healthy life, you're even more things to be grateful for. But when we turn and face the uncomfortable feelings of our life ending, and for me, I feel that my journey will continue. I feel there is a spirit component to this, and my soul will proceed and join the energy that brought us here back. And I'm looking, for me, I think it would be a joyous occasion because it means you won't be hampered by all the stresses and the physical limitations here on earth. But that's my own personal belief. Everyone's welcome to their own belief system, and I don't judge or dislike anyone for anything like that, but it makes it easier for me to embrace and turn towards the inevitable death. And I just wanted to speak to a few notes I have here about why looking and thinking about your own death, and even as scary or anxiety provoking it might be, that it might be a good exercise to do, at least on occasion, if not more often. So I think it, like I said, I think it can profound our approach to life. So one, it gives us perspective, right? So recognizing the impermanence of life can make the present moment feel more precious, right? Leading to the greater appreciation of the here and now. So it gives us a mindfulness, right? It makes us think about that tomorrow may not come, so I might as well enjoy the moment that I do have. And then I think it makes us think about the prioritization, right? We put things in the proper order with the awareness of life's infiniteness or finiteness, excuse me. We can prioritize the meaningful relationships and the experiences. We can not think about the more trivial things in life and have that emotional impact on us. When we think about the finite amount of time we have here, someone cutting you off on the highway is going to be less anger provoking. And sitting with the uncomfortable waiting in line at the store, waiting in line at the behind the someone at Starbucks, it's okay. It's a moment to sit and reflect and take a deep breath, do some deep breathing exercises, right? Looking at the birds and thinking about who's on the radio, or it's an opportunity to sit back and just kind of reprioritize things in your life. What's the most important thing to you? Family, friends, etc. And then I think it's authenticity. I think it's a really important word, but a word that's kind of been bounced around the internet quite a bit. And it's not as important anymore because people are like, oh, I'm being authentic. Oh, we need someone to be authentic. But when you think about authenticity, it's understanding that our mortality often drives us to live more authentic. There we go. As we might strive to be our true selves without being overly influenced by society, right? Because I feel like when we understand that mortality could come at any time, or end at any moment in our lives, that we don't feel it's all that important to, wear the clothes that society thinks we have to, or behave in the way society thinks we should. And I think that's really important. And I think it makes being authentic easier, right? Because sometimes people go, what does it mean to be authentic? What does it mean to embrace our true selves? And when you start thinking about, again, the finiteness of our time here, it becomes pretty easy because you just turn inward and say, what's important to me? And you live those values. I think depth is important, right? The knowledge of mortality can deepen our emotional experiences, right? It can make joy a little bit more sweeter. And I think compassion is easier. And, I think to understand compassion, we have had to have suffering. So when we think about, even if it's not our own suffering, if we think about suffering, someone else's suffering, it makes us more compassionate towards someone. And maybe we haven't been homeless, but we can think about the life of someone who is struggling with finding secure housing and just living the life's basics needs or struggle to meet. That allows us to have more compassion for someone who's really struggling and asking for a handout. And we get off our judgmental high horses, right? And so again, it will help with those things. Another thing is resilience. Recognizing there's inevitable challenges of life, including death. So it is the way it is. Can really build resilience and strength in facing adversities, right? So let's think about that. So if you're dealing with a very difficult task, or you have a challenge that's upcoming, financial, or maybe it's even physical, health wise, um, understanding that there will be these times in our life, but as time passes, things will either um, improve, get worse, or stay the same. That it's just the way life is. We're here, we're suffering. But when we recognize that and we just know that by ignoring it and pretending it's not there is going to make it go away, but we just say, this is the way life is. Death comes, illness may come. Wonderful things happen and difficult things happen. It's, the ebb and flow of life. Good things come and pass, bad things come and pass. The storms roll in, the storms roll out, the sun rises, the sun sets. And when we realize that, it makes this easier for us to kind of rebound. Even if we don't rebound to where we were, it helps us move on and deal with life. And resilience is a really important thing to start thinking about. How can I build more resilience? And I think by doing hard things, you build your resilience. By allowing our children to do hard things and encouraging them to do hard things, you build your resilience, and which will make life much easier. Once you know that you've been through something hard, you can face something else hard. And I think motivation, right? I think that's a fairly straightforward one. When you're aware that life has such a short period of time, that it can be a motivating factor to pursue your dreams, your goals, and passions without delay. Like, hop to it. Let's get on it. And so I would ask, what are your motivations? Like, what are your goals and dreams? Start thinking about that. And I think empathy and connection is also right. So when we all understand that it's our common human experience that every single person born will also die, um, I think that allows us to have empathy towards each other and a deeper connection if we think about it that way. Someone in another country, someone down the street, someone that has opposite political beliefs or opposite religious beliefs is, again, a human. And we all are here living our human lives. And there's a deeper connection to us than just, what we're seeing on the outside. We all have thoughts, we all have emotions, we all have people we care about and love, and our own struggles and our own inner, demons and um, uh, yeah, anxieties, I guess. So understanding that we all have this difficult life we're living, not difficult life, I'd say embracing the life that we're having, and I think how we embrace it will help us enjoy the life or not. But anyway, moving on. And I think personal growth, right? Facing and accepting death often prompts introspection, right? Which leads to our own personal growth and better understanding of our values. So I had a patient who said, no one has ever asked me what her values were before. And it really shook her up. And I think when you look at death, and it allows you to think, okay, what's important to me today? Besides being present in this moment, what is important for me today? And yeah, so I think there's some important things there to think about. And then when you turn into any fear, anxiety about anything, and just sit with it and ask it, why? Why are you here? Like, let's say you have a fear of or an anxiety about something, or a stress. And instead of pushing it away or trying to will your way to not think about it, what if you turned into it and asked, why are you here? What am I here to learn? What are the things, circumstances around it? But with death, I think, by embracing it, we can reduce the anxiety and fear associated with it. And just know that it's something there. And it's kind of like if there was a example in the book, The Comfort Crisis, like I said, I'm listening to. And if we're all walking on a cliff, or we're walking along a path, and there's a cliff, a 500 cliff, and that's death, and we know it's coming, that we're all going to end up jumping off the cliff that at the end of this life, we might be thinking about our journey to the end of the cliff a little bit more, right? We might think about who's on the journey with us. Oh, look at the beautiful flowers along the path, right? Maybe we would kind of take some meandering trail off and try to make the the trail a little bit longer, right? And slow down our pace instead of just hurrying so quickly to jump off the cliff. And for me, what that means is sitting back, enjoying the present moment, and thinking to myself, what are the moments that I've already missed in the last 50 years? My goodness, I'll be 53. I'll be 53 in a week. I may not have another 53 years. So I need to start enjoying every moment today, right? Is it the plants on my wall? Is it, Daisy making a goofy pose in her dog world, thinking about her, enjoying my loved ones, my husband, my kids, my friends, and sharing these things that hopefully will help motivate you. But yeah, anyway, and the last one is legacy consideration. I think, when you contemplate mortality, it can really make you think about your legacy and what you want to leave behind, and then kind of guiding your actions and decisions in life, right? So, what is the legacy you want to leave behind? And it doesn't have to be a legacy that's world renowned, right? I think we all want to live a life that had meaning and that someone would remember us, right? So, yeah. So, what is your legacy? And at the end of the day, by embracing death, I think we can embrace more of life. So, I hope you found that heavy topic at least thought provoking. And I know I've been thinking a lot about it this morning, and I just felt compelled to share that with you. Not a typical doctor thing to share, but that's okay. We're all here to live different purposes, and I'm just allowing whatever God or the universe or whatever you like to call it prompts me to share with you, and hopefully it'll help someone. So, you guys have a beautiful, lovely weekend. I will try to be here this weekend. I need to run a very long distance tomorrow in training for this half marathon. So, we'll see how that ends up. And I'm going to embrace it, embrace the hard things, and enjoy it afterwards. So, you guys have a lovely, lovely day. And I will see you either tomorrow or Sunday, or definitely on Monday. All right. Take care.